Do you have an appointment?
No. I thought I'd inquire about a membership.
Excuse me?
Yeah. Under this ravaged, drug-addled exterior lies the heart of a reactionary prick, so I thought I'd fit right in here.
I think you should leave, sir, before I call the police.
I think you should leave, sir, before I... Dude, it is the 21st century. Let me tell you something. You've got a job wiping rich pricks' asses, and for some reason you seem a little pleased with yourself.
Will you leave?
Trust me, man, nothing would please me more. But I'm supposed to see Tom Stubbs, and well, he said to meet him here.
Oh, Mr. Stubbs, sir. Okay, you only had to say so, sir. Follow me, will you? Mr. Stubbs is in the day spa, receiving some back work.
Right you are.
Johnny Klebitz is the affably evil vice president of the Lost MC. Arguably the most devoted of them all. More so than their actual president. Johnny may be a natural-born rebel with a cause, and sure as hell proud of it, but even then he still has integrity. Being a cool-headed, all-business, pragmatic kind of guy. Preferring to keep the peace and never forgoes a brother in need. Even being there for those who clearly don't deserve it. And overall being the true leader his brothers deserve. Or at least he used to be that way.
Fucking shit!
How it all came to this for our beloved biker is what we're going to explore in today's video. So join me as we take a look at the disappointing, agonizing life and death of Johnny Klebitz. Johnny was born to a Jewish family in Actor Alderney, 1974. Although not much is revealed about his childhood and upbringing, it's apparent that he was always the black sheep of the family. And while we don't know anything about his parents, it's interpreted that his mother, specifically, has never really had the best opinion of him.
Mom always told me I'd be a bus driver.
His older brother Michael, however, is a law-abiding soldier serving in Iraq, who constantly lectures Johnny about his criminal lifestyle in emails. Ironically, Michael used to be friends with Lost MC President Billy Gray when Johnny was only 10 years old. And it is through his brother's affiliation with Billy is how Johnny got accepted into the gang. His crime activity started in 1991 with Grand Theft Auto, assault in 1993, manslaughter in 1994, and parole violation in 2000, as he did up to 6 years in prison in between that time and spent a year of it punching out license plates. At some point in 2004, Johnny, along with Lost MC members Terry Thorpe and Clay Simmons, traveled to San Andreas. He even has a patch on his jacket that reads, "I rode mine to Los Santos in 2004. He used to be the boyfriend of his once childhood friend Ashley Butler, but broke up with her due to her ever-worsening drug addiction to meth, as well as her affairs with Billy, but more on her later. When Billy was sent to rehab in early 2008, Johnny temporarily took over as president, and with Johnny being the most committed to the Lost, he kept the gang financially supported through crime deals, and even managed to make peace with their arch rivals, the Angels of Death, by giving them Billy's bike as a peace offering. When the day finally came that Billy got out of rehab and Johnny turned leadership back over to him, was when everything went downhill from there. With Billy being the gang's reckless and impulsive leader, he slowly began undoing all of the progress Johnny has made for himself and his brothers. First by insisting on stealing his bike back, thus reigniting yet another war between the Lost and the AOD, getting himself constantly high and drunk to celebrate his release, and just generally being on bad terms with Johnny. At his latest party, Billy introduces him to Dave Grossman, part-time lawyer and biker. And even though Johnny voices concerns about that, he and Billy do manage to put aside their differences. Suddenly, Billy gets a text informing him that some of his members are being ambushed by the Angels, so they all leave to go aid their brothers. After the ambush, they rendezvous with Billy, where he reveals that the MC's enforcer, Jason Michaels, has been killed by a hired gun ordered by his girlfriend's Russian father. And the only other thing they know is that the hired gun was an Eastern European. Billy pretends to pay tribute to Jason, and then decides to use his death as an excuse to further sabotage the Angels by scapegoating them as Jason's killers. So the Lost raid their clubhouse, killing more members in the process. While there, Billy finds 2 duffel bags of heroin belonging to the Angels and decides to steal it to sell. But this decision once again recreates tension between him and Johnny. Later on, Billy texts Johnny telling him to go see Elizabeta Torres, who can help hook him up with a buyer for the drugs. While at her party, he's introduced to Nico Bellic, as she sends him and Playboy X to accompany Johnny to the deal to make sure nothing goes wrong. So Johnny leaves to go get the drugs from the MC secretary Brian Jeremy, then goes to the meeting to wait for them. When they meet the buyer, they instantly notice how overly antsy he is, until he gives himself away as an undercover LCPD. Johnny successfully escapes with the heroin, after which he gets a call from Billy telling him to go meet Thomas Stubbs, a congressman who needs help with some dirty laundry. With the LCPD now onto them because of the stolen drugs, Johnny and MC treasurer Jim Fitzgerald successfully managed to convince Billy and Brian to give it back to the rightful owners, who are actually the Triads and not the AOD. So the 4 members go to the deal, with Johnny and Jim directly trying to sell the drugs back to them. Insulted that they have to buy their own product back, they immediately start a shootout. The duo escape to the rooftop and witness Billy getting arrested by the LCPD. And all the while, he's loudly accusing Johnny of setting him up. With the MC president incarcerated once again, this leaves a big stain on the Alderney chapter, to the point where the gang is split into 2 factions, with Johnny and Brian leading each. However, Brian, unbelievably, managed to persuade a large portion of the gang to side with him instead of Johnny, leaving Johnny with only Terry, Clay, Jim, and MC mechanic Angus Martin.
Looks like we're about all that's left of the Alderney chapter, man.
We don't need numbers, man. We need brothers.
Soon after, Johnny and Jim meet up with Brian and his faction for a truce. But surprise, surprise, that doesn't happen.
Billy was always good to you and you ratted him out.
Billy's a one-way SOB and he don't give a shit about the brothers.
No,
Yeah, you think Billy'd stick his neck out for you? You're dumber than I thought.
I knew you'd say that. Just knew you'd say that. You're so predictable,
Wow.
Johnny Little Dickowitz.
What a baby!
A shootout ensues with Johnny and Jim making it out alive and Brian going into hiding. But thankfully, the brothers learn of Brian's whereabouts with the help of the Pecorino family capo, Ray Bacino, whom Johnny previously met through Billy. Bacino wants Brian killed off because he'd rather work with Johnny, who's a better businessman, and because this whole civil war nonsense between the 2 factions is bad for business. Johnny and his gang shoot their way into Brian's hideout and confront him, leaving the player a choice between killing or sparing him. If the player chooses to spare Brian, he'll show up again sometime later as a random. And even after promising he'll leave town, he still tries to deceive Johnny by luring him into an ambush, which ends up backfiring on Brian. So after taking care of the Brian situation, Jim introduces Johnny to 2 members of the Uptown Riders biker gang, Malk and Deshawn. And with his new allies, he continues to do more work for Elizabeta Torres, before she ends up going to prison forever. So going back to Ashley. Her meth addiction is so bad that she ends up depending on Johnny to clean up her messes. No matter how much of a burden she is or how much trouble she puts herself and others in, Johnny is always there to go the extra mile for her anyway. One specific instance is when she's in debt to Dmitry Raskolov and his goons hold her hostage. So Johnny has to swoop in and help pay off her debt by kidnapping Roman Bellic with the help of Malk. Apart from that, Johnny continues to do work for Ray. He's told to go disrupt a diamond deal taking place at the Platypus cargo ship between Tony Prince and the ship's cook. And he ends up stealing $2 million worth of diamonds. Afterwards, Ray sets up a diamond deal at the Libertonian Museum and has Johnny accompany Nico there to make a sale to the Jewish Mafia. However, the deal is then ambushed by Luis Lopez, leading everyone to gunfight their way out of the museum. But luckily, Johnny manages to escape and with the deal money. He meets up with Jim, choosing to leave it all with him. Big mistake, because when Ray learns of this, he kidnaps and tortures Jim in his restaurant basement in retaliation for having his money stolen, leading Johnny to rescue him, and the two flee out of Ray's sight, splitting up shortly after. Soon, Ashley calls Johnny and the two meet up at the clubhouse, but not before Johnny has to fend off against Ray's goons with the help of Terry and Clay. So she first reveals to Johnny that Jim has been gunned down by a hitman hired by Ray. Then she reveals that Billy plans to rat out the biker gang for their crimes so that he could get an early prison release, then go states. So because of all this, she cut ties to Ray. Johnny isn't having any of it and disowns Ashley right there and then. 'Bout damn time. After being called by Stubbs, they meet up inside the clubhouse, and he advises Johnny not to go after Ray and his associates, as they will all be dead or in jail within a month or so, and to just take care of the Billy situation. So to silence Billy once and for all, he rounds up the remaining Lost members, and together they raid the Alderney State Correctional Facility, shooting every guard and cop in their way until Johnny comes face to face with Billy, preparing to shoot him. He hesitates to shoot his former president and friend at first, until Billy gives him a little incentive. So with Billy dead, they ride back to the clubhouse, only to find that Ray's goons have trashed the place to the point where there's nothing left to salvage. They take a moment to reminisce about old times before deciding to set fire to the clubhouse. And with that, the remnants of the Lost all walk outside to watch their beloved clubhouse go up in smoke. When it's all said and done, he cuts ties to Thomas Stubbs, bids Angus a farewell, continues to support Jim's family financially with that money, and cuts ties to Ashley, who has learned nothing.
Didn't think I'd hear from you again.
I didn't think I'd call you. You hear about Billy?
Yeah, I heard. Look, Johnny. Look, have you got any money? I need $40. I need it real bad, baby.
Not this time. You can kill yourself on your own. Goodbye, Ash.
So because of Billy's betrayal, the clubhouse is gone, the Alderney chapter of the Lost MC is officially no more, and the only remaining members left are Johnny, Clay, Terry, and Angus. So, having lost nearly everything dear to him, the question now is, what's next for Johnny Klebitz? Well, not too long after, Johnny and the remaining OGs of the Lost, minus Angus, all decided to travel back to San Andreas, specifically settling into Blaine County, and started a new chapter, with their primary business being weapons and drugs trading. So despite his previous losses, Johnny managed to start over with a new chapter. But sadly, that doesn't mean things were all good from there, because the loss was met with all new problems. For instance, Johnny Klebitz, their chapter president, had begun suffering from severe badass decay. How? Well, at some point, he got back together with Ashley. Why? I don't know. Ask rock stars. But if that wasn't bad enough, he himself also became addicted to meth, much like her. And as a result, he became physically frail and mentally unstable. On top of that, the gang became affiliated with Trevor Phillips, another dealer of the same business trades, who constantly sabotages their business with the help of GTA Online players, and has affairs with Ashley. In 2013, Johnny found out about her latest infidelity with Trevor. Which brings us back to the confrontation.
Johnny, don't do it! Trevor! You been with my girl again? I'm speaking with you, asshole!
Don't do it, Johnny! I told him, Trevor, I told him!
We all get high! We all get high! But that don't make it right!
Johnny! Leave it!
The crystal has got us, babe, but that don't make it right. Don't make nothing right. Not what you done with me.
I'm telling Johnny, leave it!
I ain't leaving nothing. Trevor! I'm talking to you, motherfucker!
Are you? What are you saying?
Fucking my girl, man. It's wrong.
Well, I gotta fuck someone. You want me to fuck you instead? Is that the problem here? Take off your pants, cowboy, all right? Let's fuck.
You think this is funny?
Get them off!
I told him to leave it, Trevor. I told him. Leave it. Leave it.
Shut up, Ron. I'm about to fuck me a meth head, ain't I, cowboy? Get my boy sucked from his toothless gums, huh?
Fuck you, Trevor.
Oh.
I still love her.
All right, cowboy. Hey, I know. Hey, come on.
I don't mean nothing by it, man.
I know.
I'm messed up.
I know, cowboy. It's okay, man. Give me a hug, yeah. Fucking shit! Cunt! Who the fuck are you speaking to? Who? I'm talking to you, huh? You fuck!
Johnny!
Huh? Next time, don't get in my fucking face! I just saw a fucking ghost and I gotta hear your crap! Get up! Get up! Fuck you then!
Johnny!
Wait.
So when Trevor goes to announce Johnny's death to the Lost MC, it leads to a shootout with Trevor killing many members in the process, which sadly includes Terry and Clay. Even after death, Johnny is brought up a few more times by other Sandy Shore residents, such as Melvin, the owner of the Sandy Shore's ammunition, and Larry Tupper during Trevor's second bounty hunter mission. But to further cement just how far Johnny has fallen, during the mission Friends Reunited, while Trevor is snooping around the biker gang's trailers, a conversation between some members can be overheard as they compare Johnny's leadership to Billy Gray's, but not in a nice way. Johnny may not be on the same level of tragic as Nico Bellic, but his entire life truly was a conga line of disappointment, hollow promises, deception, and loss, and all at the cost of his loyalty. Growing up around a lack of acceptance, this biker gang was all he had closest to a real family. And that same so-called family managed to fail him more so than his blood family ever could, with only a few exceptions. And while devotion was his best quality as a whole, having such an obsolete mindset of what biker life used to be was without a doubt his greatest weakness, as it just left the door open for corruption and objectification, as everyone universally treated him like a tool. But the irony is, he himself was broken, and at this point beyond repair. Needless to say, his inability to let go of the past not only kept him from ever progressing as a person, but was the very thing that ultimately cost him his life. A sad end for such a die-hard renegade.